What's up, guys? Thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jasper Chase, and welcome to another motovlog. Today, we're going to review my RS660. So this is a 2022 Aprilia RS660 Limited Stars and Stripes Edition. This is number 561 out of 1,500 in the world. The 659cc engine is fuel injected and has 100 freaking horsepower and 49 pounds of torque at 8,500 RPMs. The 6-speed transmission has quick shift up and down. It also has cruise control. It even has 5 different modes: commute, intermediate, individual, challenge, and time attack. Introduced in 2021, it has a parallel twin 4-stroke engine with a 10,500 RPM redline. Now this bike has ABS front and rear. It's got traction control, and it's even got wheelie control, which for me, if you guys know the origin story for my R1, wheelie control is a good thing. It comes with dual hydraulic Brembo disc brakes. The front tire is a 120 and the rear is a fat 180 with 17-inch red rims. They are Pirelli Diablo Corsa 2s. It also has a wet weight of 403 pounds, which makes it pretty darn light considering. It's got a 3.96 gallon tank and gets about 45 miles to the gallon. Now the engine has an incredible soundtrack. There's a lot of torque down low, so it doesn't feel strangled when opening up the throttle. And the bike tops out at about 150. Now, I love the front end of this bike. With the open air intakes, it makes for a really cool sound. The LED lights are perfect for night riding, and the center LED is for the brights, which, to be honest, really doesn't make that much of a difference. Okay, now the seat is extremely comfortable. You could ride for hours on this bike. The ergonomics are fantastic because you've got these kind of upright clip-ons, and then you've got these pegs down here that make for a really comfortable ride. It's not like a sport touring setup, but it's pretty close. The seat height is about 32 inches. Now I'm 6'1" with a 30-inch inseam, so for me, I can barely flat-foot it, but overall, it's a very comfortable position. All right, so let's get going. Let's go ride this thing. So what really sets this bike apart from the regular RS660 is you get a custom rear seat cowl, you get electronic GP shift, which is really cool. All you do is go into the electronics and change the setting, and you've got GP shift. You don't have to, get your tools out and flip the clutch around or anything like that. You just do it electronically. And then there's the windscreen, which is more of a touring windscreen. Keeps the air off of me, and I think the buffeting is fantastic on this bike. And then of course you got the Stars and Stripes paint job, which looks phenomenal. I was trying to name this bike, and funny enough, I couldn't come up with a name. I wanted to do Chelsea 2.0 because my R1 was named Chelsea. Well, I was talking to a friend of mine and I was like, yeah, I can't come up with a name. And she was like, Liberty. Just name it Liberty. And I was like, holy crap, that is such a good name. So this bike is named Liberty. So back to the comfort. I am sitting pretty upright. Like I said, the clip-ons are a little higher up, and the foot pegs are kind of down and forward a little bit to make it more of a comfortable ride. But this seat is amazing. Like I said, I can drive for hours on this bike and have absolutely no problem with it. I can pretty much run out of gas before I need to take a break on this bike. Now, talk about the Brembo brakes. There's nobody behind us. Hard stop. Really good. Doesn't lock up. Has trouble shifting into gear though. Has absolutely no problem stopping. It's a dual hydraulic brake system by Brembo, which is phenomenal for the price range. I think that they did a good job speccing out the bike with different high-end components, really. And I don't know if you can hear the sound over the wind, but this bike sounds amazing. Let's get it down a little bit. At about 7,000 RPMs is when the power really kicks in. Wow. Just amazing. Just amazing. Now there are a couple little things that bother me on this bike. Number one, this thing right here, it's got a little bump on the front fairing next to the windscreen. I don't know if you can see it, but it's not on this side. It's only on that side, and I don't know what it's for. It doesn't make any sense at all for it to be there, and it's asymmetrical, which with my OCD drives me insane. Another thing is the rear brake, and I'm not the only one. I watched a review on this bike and they said the same thing. The rear brake is really screechy. It makes it like a metal on metal sound. I don't know if the pads need to be readjusted on it, but every time I hit the rear brake, it makes a squealing sound, which is kind of embarrassing. And not to mention, it's a brand new bike. I should have no problem with that. When I took it into service to get the 600-mile service done, I mentioned it to him, and so what he did, he just slammed on the brakes a bunch of times until the sound went away. And so now it's kind of okay. I mean, it still squeaks a little bit, but it's not that bad. I can deal with it. Sometimes it squeals, sometimes it doesn't. Just, I guess, depends on what the mood is of the motorcycle. All right, which way are we going? Which way are we going? I think I'm gonna go left. I think we're gonna go left. I don't know if I've been this way before. Speaking of hard turns, that's a good turn, I like it. The frame is so thin and strong and skinny that it does a lot of the work while you're in the twisties. This is a perfect bike for the track. You really don't need anything more than this. I mean, yeah, having an R1 would be pretty cool, but this thing will do just as well as a leader bike, but it's only a 600. But that's because of the handling of it. The handling is fantastic on this bike. Now, some people will say that Aprilia is not a good bike to have because they break down, and I get that. Like right now there's a recall on the 2021 RS660 for the push rods in the engine, and now it's only certain VIN numbers, so you have to, if you have one, just go to the website and check it out and make sure that you're not one of the ones that needs this recall done. But they fixed it. It's you got a 24-month warranty. It's a 2-year warranty, so I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Now, I've driven this thing. I have almost 3,000 miles on this bike already, and I haven't had one issue. The only issue that I've had is the rear brake squeaking, which again fixed, and it's not that big of a deal. So I know there's a stigma behind Aprilia, but the reality is this particular bike is awesome and has absolutely no problem doing everything it's supposed to do without breaking down. I haven't had one issue with it. Now let's go back and talk about the front end of this bike, because I looked at the Kawasaki Ninja 600 or the ZX6R. I looked at the Honda CBR 600. I looked at a couple of these other bikes kind of in the same class, the R7, which to me the R7 is one of the ugliest motorcycles ever made. Now that is one of the competitors to this bike, but the fact is the R7 does not have all of these incredible electronics that you can play with that really help out with the bike. I mean, like I said, wheelie control, not that I accelerate fast anymore, I drive kind of like a grandma, but I have wheelie control, which for me, I've got this fear of wheeling again. After my wreck, it scares me. So it's nice that it's got wheelie control and I don't have to worry about the bike coming up. I've accelerated pretty hard. Let's go left. I accelerated pretty hard one time just to test it out, and it absolutely works. All right, I've never been this way, so I'm actually lost right now. I have no idea where I'm at. I'm in Augusta, Georgia, and actually I think I was just in Harlem, which is outside of Augusta. But yeah, I have no idea where I'm at. Thank God for GPS when I'm ready to go home. As I was saying, the R7, although CC wise is a competitor, it has no chance against the RS660 in my personal opinion, because of all the electronics. You've got the wheelie control, you've got the traction control, you have 8 settings of traction control. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you've got 2 customizable settings where you can adjust the wheelie control. There's 3 settings of wheelie control, 8 settings of traction control. I can't remember them all at the moment, but you can adjust everything in individual mode and time attack mode. Man, that doesn't get old. Holy cow. That does not get old. Another competitor would probably be the Honda CBR 650R, the full fairing bike. And again, there's no electronics on it. I don't even think there's ABS on that bike. It's just bike mode. There's no different modes that you can use. And I started out, for the first like 1,500 miles, I stayed in commute mode, which is basically like rain mode. It dumbs down all the power, it increases all the nannies like the traction control and ABS and all that fun stuff. And it's just a nice, easy bike to ride. It doesn't scare you. The power is extremely manageable, and I really don't think that you would have a problem if you've got riding experience. This bike is a great bike to upgrade to. I would even dare say that this could be a good first bike. I know, what is his name? Aros, A-R-O-S. His wife just got the 2022 Aprilia RS660, and that's her first bike, and she loves it. So, I mean, I did that video about first bikes and mentioned like the KTMs and some of the Harleys and stuff like that, but in reality, this bike right here, it could be a good first bike, and you would never get bored of it. Okay, so let's talk about price. Now, I think for the amount of things you get with this, the cruise control, the traction control, the wheelie control, ABS on front and rear, you got Brembo brakes, you've got a touring windscreen, you've got a custom seat cowl. These are all incredible things. Oh, and let's not forget the 5 different modes that you have to select from, 2 of which are adjustable. It's phenomenal. It's such a cool bike with all these crazy features. You would think it'd be way more expensive than it actually is. The fact is, the limited Stars and Stripes edition was $11,899, and I got it just over 12 grand. So I got a pretty good deal on it. The only problem that I had was the dealership. Now, I had to go all the way to Knoxville, Tennessee to get this bike because it wasn't available anywhere else. I mean, I could have gone to Savannah or Tampa. I could have gone to Tampa, but I was in North Carolina at the time, so Knoxville, Tennessee was the way to go. I originally was going in for the black and red edition because, as you know, my colors are red, black, and white. And I hate the color blue. Absolutely hate it. it took some getting used to enjoying the Stars and Stripes paint job. What really sold it for me, again, it's limited. There's only 1,500 in the world. 1,500 in the world. And I got number 561. Now, the only bad part is that, you know, I drove all the way to Knoxville, Tennessee. You would think that I'd get a red carpet welcome. I mean, it was like a 2.5-hour drive. And nothing. I got nothing out of it. The salesperson that I was dealing with over the phone said he would be there, and he never showed up. So here I am trying to buy this bike. It's a limited edition. I drove 2.5 hours and I get nothing out of it. In fact, it gets worse. I got there and there was only one salesperson on duty, and there were no managers. So she was already dealing with 2 other people, so she basically threw the paperwork at me, and I had to fill it out at the reception desk standing up. I didn't even get to go to a room to talk with a finance manager to finish up my paperwork. And I could have been offered maintenance packages, I could have been offered tire and wheel packages, I could have been offered extended warranties, but no, nothing. They left all of that on the table, and I had plenty of money per month in my budget to cover that stuff. But ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. They did not care at all. I just wanted a good buying experience, and I didn't get it. Especially for something as special as this, I got nothing. So I would never go back to that dealership for sure. In fact, I found a local, not dealership, but a local shop that it works on Aprilias. So I got lucky there. They're only like 15 minutes from the house. So, you know, I got that going for me. So I don't have to worry about going to an actual Aprilia dealership, which the closest one to here would be Savannah. So it is what it is. But overall, I am so happy with the purchase. I just wish it was a better purchasing process. But overall, this bike looks great. It sounds great. It's comfortable. It's got a big gas tank so you can go a lot of miles without filling up. It's got all these incredible features to it. It's got all the electronics that you could ever possibly want on a motorcycle, with the exception, I'd say, maybe heated grips. But I mean, it's a super sport. It's not a touring bike. I could not be happier with this bike. I honestly couldn't. This is now my favorite bike that I've ever owned, and I've owned a lot of motorcycles. So I would say that if you have an opportunity, if you're looking to buy a bike like this, you should absolutely go for it. This bike is phenomenal. And if you look at the reviews on this bike, you're gonna find out that there's no one out there that doesn't like this bike. That's why I bought it, is because of all the reviews. Everybody said that it was a phenomenal motorcycle. So I bought it. I enjoy every second of it. It's got the low-end torque that I need. It's got the high-end horsepower that I need. I can take this to the track. I can drive it in the city. I mean, honestly, there's nothing better than this bike. I personally don't think so. It's got everything you could ever want on a motorcycle. So guys, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. You guys keep doing what you're doing. I'm out.